Hi everybody, MetaHut Travels coming to you today with something related to motor transport, your motorhome, livelihood, whatever the case may be. Now, in the wonderful state of Queensland, if you have a heavy vehicle licence or you're driving an Uber or a taxi or whatever the case may be, and incidentally I don't know how long these forms have been out for, but they seem to mystify everybody, including doctors, pathologists, optometrists, whatever. But anyway, now, so I'm diabetic, so I've got a couple of health issues. So a driver assessment for a heavy vehicle or a medium rigid vehicle or commercial vehicle, I get it, I understand it. We do the same in New South Wales. Instead of every year, I think it's every 5 years. But if I'm diabetic, but I'm type 2, so I take a tabby, and I'm not minimalising diabetes by any chance, but the risk factors of me having a hypo, well, I've had it for 12 years, and I've never had a hypo. I've never had, mate, if I didn't take my blood sugars, even there, 4 or 5, so I've kind of managed it fairly well. I've been naughty a couple of times, but what diabetic hasn't? But anyway, back to this. Now, this is a Queensland government requirement for anyone outside the state coming in. You need to know this, all right? So, this is what the form looks like. Okay, it looks backwards to you, but it's an application for private commercial vehicles health assessment thing, right? Now, as you can see, it's got the assessment there, a ticky-flicky assessment. Now, when it goes over the page as well. Okay, so that's everything ticked and flicked there. So I thought. So I took this to a bulk billing service in Cairns, a doctor's surgery, and guess what? Even though they had a big sign hanging out the surgery, bulk billing, they don't bulk bill anymore. So I said, maybe you need to take the sign down. Now, main problem with bulk billing services is that the clinics seem to comprise of overseas doctors. Now, nothing wrong with overseas doctors. They're wonderful people. They've got a wealth of knowledge, blah, 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 but their capacity to read and understand English can sometimes be a little bit diminished. Processes and the way of government is foreign to them, so it makes it very hard for a health professional to deliver. However, the practices of these clinics, the moment they see a government required document, it will not be done on Medicare. All right. So the first attempt to get this done was $290, and that included a hearing test. $290. Okay, so after a lot of toing and froing and fart-assing around, it got to the stage where this, and he again, wonderful man, just came from Japan, trying to get a handle on the country, and this went on and on and on and on for 2 or 3 days. And in the end, I just grabbed the form and walked out. I lost it. I did. I lost it. I just grabbed this form and walked out because I just couldn't stand it anymore. Get up to Townsville, go to the Department of Transport, hand this over with my passport, my license, my Medicare card, and they want your bank card as well, so they can put you into the system. And this lady looked at me and went, "Oh no, we want this. This is the medical. It's a pink form, exactly the same as this form, but it's a pink form." Okay, so $290 wasted. Then I start the process all over again. Now, I'm not going to say anything bad about any of those poor people that work for the Department of Transport or New South Wales services or whatever the case may be, because I know these forms are put together by people who sit there and think of new and enthused ways of ripping people off. And this is a money thing, okay? I understand people have got to have a health check, but that can be done by a GP. And, you know, it's a set of bloods, it's an eye test. It's nothing a diabetic doesn't do anyway. I mean, I have all that checked once a year. Even if I'm not requiring anything like this, I get it done. And my eyesight's perfect, my hearing's perfect, although my wife might disagree with that. So I got this thing and away we go again. So I go to the medical centre, bulk billing this time, which is great. And for the most, it was great. I got my bloods done, I got my eyesight done by OPSM here at the Willows in Townsville. And it cost me $30 more because I elected to have a scan instead of the drops in my eyes because I was driving. And anybody who knows anything about that, when you get drops in your eyes, it dilates your pupils and it's kind of a bit risque being on the road driving. So I opted for the scan, and that was my option, to pay that $30. Okay, that was done. This is incidental now. The eye test was done on the 6th of February. It is now the 17th, and I go back to get this finalised. Eye test isn't there. The report isn't there. So my doctor rings up the OPSM. Can I have it? We can't find it. End of story. So I walked out because I'm still getting looked at. Looked over to Michelle and I said, can you ring these people and find out where that fucking report is? Turns out the chicks, there's two optometrists. One is a lovely Asian lady and the other gentleman I haven't met. She done my test. And she said to me on the day, she said, oh, we're very quiet at the moment, so I'll be able to bash through this report and get it out in no time at all. And here I am thinking, beauty, it'll be waiting for me when I get there. Nah. So anyway, my consultation is now over, and lo and behold, they faxed it through. I grabbed a copy of the report and I went to back to Department of Transport, and the girl comes back and says, your eye test, she didn't fill it in. I said, yeah, I know, I explained it. I said, look, I've got the report here. No, you got to take it back and get an optometrist to read it and sign it. I said, even though you've got the report, yeah. Okay, so out I go from the Department of Transport, back down to the Willows, which is not far, which is great, you know. And I presented the report and all that sort of thing. And this communication all round is pitiful. Okay, so another lovely Asian optometrist lady comes out and says, oh, Mr. Cunningham, you come. So I go, and she sits me down, turns the lights out, and proceeds to give me an eye test. And I went, no, I've already had the eye test done. I just need this document signed. Oh, well, put your left hand up. I said, no, we've already done all this. I just need this document signed by an optometrist. Oh. Well, put your hand... No, we've done this. It's all documented. Just go to the computer and have a look. Which she finally did and saw that it had all been done. So she graciously signed it and away I went. Back to the Department of Transport. Sat down again. And funnily enough, when I got back there on the second time, there was another guy from New South Wales telling them to stick it up their fucking shirt. And like I said before, with all government departments, it doesn't matter what state you come from, these people just don't give a shit. Them the rules, and you apply to it, or you go. But if you call me a fucking dickhead, I'm going to ring the police, and you're going to get taken away. They know it, you know it, so there's no point. So I go back there, and I say to the girl, right, I've got that done, fantastic. And she got up, and she said, I have to ring your doctor now. I said, okay. So she went and rang the doctor, and blah, 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 blah. Then she comes back and she says, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Third time. She said, oh, she's ticked private and not commercial. I went, what? Because I've never done this before. I wouldn't know. So she said, no, you're going to have to go back and get her to put a line through here and tick that box, but make sure she's met all the criteria before she does. Okay, so this is now. So today will be the 4th visit to the Department of Transport, and I hope this is fucking. So can I say also, I go back and I get this. She grabs the form. She's talked to the Department of Transport. She does the ticking and the flicking, and then I get a bill for $110. So now we're up to over $300 for this thing. Okay, the first $290 I'll say was a fucking rip-off, that they just saw me coming and ripped me off, and that's appalling for a medical surgery to do that. But that's how they make their money, right? The moment they have anything to do with government, that's how they make their money. So $110, okay, what do? I'm already into this thing now, I've got to keep going. So, back I go. So I paid the $110, she signed the document, I ran out of time. We had to come back, and so we're going back sometime today to get this completed. Now, for anyone who's just, part of the problem was the old doctor's surgery I went to New South Wales and country New South Wales. Great people. I'm not going to mention names and clinics and things like that. I'm just not going to do it. They weren't connected to HealthShare. I think it is like, you know how you elect to get your health documents put online, which we have done. And so when she hit my information thing, nothing came up. So straight away, they treat you as an unknown because, oh, what's this guy really want, And there's signs all over every surgery up here. Don't come in here asking for S8s because we're not going to give them. Another new fucktarded government bullshit routine in an event of, it's a blanket approach for the handful of people that doctor shop and abuse S8s has totally fucked it up. For anyone who suffers chronic pain now, we are corralled into spending more money by having to go and see a pain specialist now. He's usually an anaesthetist or whatever the case may be. But big bickies, another $400-500, who knows, Anyway, to get your license renewed in the state of Queensland for 5 years is $168. To get your driver's, what do they call it? Driver's assessment, or DA, driver authorization is what they call it. To get this done for 4 years is nearly $500. So, it was explained to me by this lovely doctor that, it's just the way that government makes sure that you are healthy and that you're fit to drive a heavy vehicle and blah, 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 blah. $500 for someone to go on a piece of paper? Yeah, no. That's revenue raising and gouging. That's what it is. Maybe $20? $20 a year? $100 for 5? Maybe? But $400 fucking dollars for this for 4 years. And that's if you're allowed that. So if you're coming to the state of Queensland, peeps, and you've got a heavy vehicle licence and you intend to drive, or you've got a cab or an Uber or a minibus that carries people around, you're going to have what they call a DA. So the application looks like it's blue with a white sheet in front of it. Pay no attention to the medical side of that. That means absolutely nothing. You also need to have this pink medical form. And gee, I wish someone had told me that. Or better still, guys, why don't you just make it an all-in-one and save people a whole heap of running around? and put out. I mean, the idea of training for most government departments is to put out a big load of information online, and then the doctor has to read through it all to make sure they comply with everything. And it does come with a checklist as well, I imagine. But you would imagine that, again, most of the bulk billing services that I have been going to, and when you're on the road and you're watching your money, you do choose bulk billing services. You try to, because you're watching your money, you know. I think a lot of people, you know, it's not a bad thing. You shouldn't be treated like scum because you're looking for a bulk billing service. But anyway, that's why you pay your taxes, and that's why you Medicare and blah, 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 blah. But anyway, the unfortunate part of these bulk billing services is that most of them tend to be looked at after by doctors from a foreign country. So there's a hiccup there straight away. It's frustrating. And so much to the point that the clinic that I went to, very busy place too, you know. Usually they're pretty good. They have pathology hanging off them and x-ray. So they've compounded the trip pretty well, you know. But again, you know, you've got that capacity to understand something that's complex. And it is complex. And it takes time. And when you're in a bulk billing service, time is money. They don't want to do this shit because it just is so involved and takes so long that the young receptionist there said, if you ever need one of these again, can I suggest you go to the Northside Clinic where there's a doctor there who's actually specialised in this stuff. Well, you know, anyway. So that's it. Queensland Drivers Authority, guys, be aware. That's what it is. And good luck with it. Because I'm praying that I get mine today. Alright, later guys. See ya.